My name's Sean Morrison. I'm a violinist. I've recently actually moved to Manchester. I lived in Birmingham for 5 years, studying my undergrad at the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire. And now, I'm studying my master's here at the Royal Northern College of Music. So I grew up in Scotland. I was born in Bruch in Stirling, then moved to Ayr, and that's where I started to learn the fiddle and the violin. And I was very lucky, actually. One of the only reasons I started to learn was because when the house we moved to in Ayr, there was a violin teacher just across the road. So my mother was like, let's send them for violin lessons. And I was the oldest, so I was the guinea pig, So I started up with Suzuki method when I was 5. And alongside that, as I got older, I started to explore folk music as well with a group in the surrounding area called the Ayrshire Fiddle Orchestra, which was essentially 50 kids, 50 fiddle players, I should say, plus more cello and accordion and drums and guitar, all wearing kilts and playing Scottish folk music. Just that was kind of where I started to understand the culture of the session culture and Ceilidh culture and all these kind of things. Then when I actually moved to Birmingham to start my studies, I kind of realized, I was like, it wasn't as much of a thing down here. And then I realized, oh wow, this is quite special. Like this culture that I've left that's kind of mine, that I'm part of, is now not here. And then that's when I started to really re-engage with it. Yeah, I started to explore old tunes. I started to explore the technique and the style. And I went to a fiddle camp run by Alistair Fraser and Natalie Haas, who are really inspiring folk musicians, and that really kind of lit a fire for me. Just being surrounded by it. That was up on Skye, that camp. It was fantastic. And then I started to get back into it. I started a band called Juniper, which still runs now. Actually, I was playing with them last night doing a Ceilidh. So that was, and then I also, through Juniper, started a duo, a fiddle and guitar duo called Thorpe and Morrison. We have got, and both Juniper and Thorpe and Morrison, we have CDs released. So I got to know the recording process and all these kind of things. And I just did a lot of it and really got involved. It's become sort of half and half part of my output as a musician is folk music and classical music. And so I find it very important that I remain as open as possible to trying to let the one inform the other, because I think there's a lot to learn from each one. So through the folk music, I've done a lot of improvising. So that's a big part of what I do as well. I love to improvise, and there's improvisational elements littered throughout classical music as well. I think often I found that classical musicians are very nervous about improvising. I think that's changing though. I think people are more open to doing it, and the music colleges are trying to embed it a bit more in the education, which is great. I think it's just a really important aspect of music making. And and I think with my ensemble playing as well, the way I've learned about ensemble playing in classical music, my chamber music. So I do a lot of chamber music. I had a quartet called the Searcy Quartet in Birmingham. I've sadly had to leave that now, and there's a new violinist there because I've come up to Manchester. But my ensemble playing became a lot better because of it, and that helped in my folk music as well. So there's a lot of sort of cross pollination of skills that come from both genres, and I've loved it. And I'm also really into sort of electronic music as well. I'm a bit of a budding DJ actually. So there we go. So I think the dance element of folk music is really important too, and I think it's quite a primal thing that is that need to dance, and hopefully we can, as in me and you guys, the orchestra, we can tap into that sort of dance-like element, especially the second movement, and it's really, really important to the lifeblood, and that's why I kind of got really into dance music as well, because I was like, I just love that idea that there's this flowing beat that comes from everything that makes people want to move. So thank you so much. Bye bye.